Hi, I'm Paul Feiner.
And I'm Pauline Mosley. Welcome.
And we have a really interesting program today. Many people here have heard of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and my guests are Rich O'Donnell, Kristine Burton, and Brian Doyle, and they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves and a little bit about the work that they do that makes people smile.
My name is Rich O'Donnell, Property Tax Consultant, O'Donnell and Cullen Property Tax. And a number of years ago, when our company decided to give back, so to speak, we, meaning my partner Mike Cullen and I, were trying to determine how and where we should do so. And then through mutual friends, we met Brian Doyle of JP Doyles in Sleepy Hollow. And I knew that he and his business partner, Nikki Bell, have always been giving, always volunteering, always doing things with their business to contribute. And they themselves contribute quite a bit in both their time, effort, and generosity. So I said, these are the guys I should follow. And Brian and I got together, we chatted about it. And at that point, I said, you know what? Make-A-Wish would be the ideal scenario for us. So at that time, we began to make an annual contribution, which we felt was in the range of perhaps the average wish cost. And so we've been doing it ever since. I think it's now 4 years now, Kristine.
Yep.
And we have been absolutely thrilled and honored to be part of that. Nobody on this planet could argue that helping sick kids and their family get through the most difficult times of their life, there's nobody that could possibly argue that this is not the best charity in the world. It's a wonderful charity, and we absolutely are thrilled to be part of it.
And Brian, what got you involved?
It started over a cup of coffee back in, 13 years ago with our CEO and president at the time, Tom Conklin, and just having coffee at the local chamber meeting, and he kind of showed me and told me about everything that Make-A-Wish was doing at the time, and we were pretty new to Sleepy Hollow, and we felt like it was time to get involved with something with more of a purpose and a mission, and we couldn't be happier with our choice in Make-A-Wish.
And Kristine, could you tell us a little bit about your work?
Sure. So I'm the president and CEO of Make-A-Wish now. So I replaced Tom, who Brian just talked about. So I have the great honor of the greatest job in the world of being able to grant wishes for children with critical illnesses. I mean, what better job could anyone ever have? I have the best job.
Does the Westchester division, are you able to focus only on, say, Westchester children?
So we are Make-A-Wish Hudson Valley. So Westchester plus 7 other counties, all the way up to Dutchess County, all the way out to Delaware County. So we cover quite a big footprint in New York. Across the country, there are 57 chapters. So we are one of 57. So our chapter grants wishes. Majority of our kids do live in Westchester just for population, but we serve all of the Hudson Valley region.
To get help, does a child have to have a terminal illness?
They do not, and that is the biggest myth of Make-A-Wish that I am here to myth bust. When we first started, Make-A-Wish was founded in 1980 in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was an organization for children with terminal illness, but that has changed dramatically since then. We are not. In fact, 90% or close to 90% of our children go on to live life well until adulthood. There are some children that is the ultimate outcome from them, but it is a very small amount.
But
so
what's like the minimum threshold? Like, do you have to be you have to be sick?
You do. It's a critical illness. So there's real definitions around what that looks like. But something that could be life-threatening. So it could be an outcome that is death, but that is not the what happens to a lot of our kids. So we come in when a child is
So
diagnosed.
somebody has like cancer,
Correct,
it would be qualified, but if somebody has an appendix,
Correct.
they won't.
Exactly. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, for sure. But they have to be between 2.5 and 18 years old and reside in the Hudson Valley for us to be able to help them. We verify all of their information with their medical professionals to make sure that they qualify for a wish. And once that happens, then we sit down and we We go exactly where the child's heart is and what they wish for. So we call it our wish journey. So the kids, once we qualify, we have great volunteers that go into the child's home or meet virtually, whatever is preferable for the child. And they just go in and talk about if they could have a wish, what would it be?
Do you ever get turned down by individuals or companies that, if you say, oh, I would like to meet the President of the United States, or I'd like to meet a baseball star, I mean, do some of them say, no, I'm not interested?
Very, very, very rarely. We do everything we can to try to make that wish come true. On occasion, there are just some things we can't do. We like to move heaven and earth to make it happen, but occasionally there is, and we always ask for a second wish, so we'll try to get that done, but very, very rarely.
So for our listening audience, just so they can get an idea of some of the wishes that you've done and how you've transformed lives, and also maintaining the privacy of the family, could you just give us an example of, one of the cases?
Right, yeah, so there are 5 different kinds of wishes. I'll start there.
Wonderful.
So there's a wish to go, which would be a travel wish type of thing. A wish to meet, like you referred to, baseball player, rock star, someone like that. A wish to have, which could be a gaming computer, a puppy, a shopping spree, so something that they actually get. A wish to be, which is one of our favorites, when a child wishes to be something. So Brian and JP Doyles helped us do a wish last summer, last summer for a young girl to become a chef for the day. Her name was Seven.
So nice.
She had just recently got a kidney transplant from her mom, and she wanted to know what it was like to be a chef. And we gave her the experience of a lifetime. Brian can talk more about it, but that is one of the other types. And then the final wish type is a wish to give, which is probably the most profound one, when a child decides that they want to give their wish of a charitable nature. They want to give a donation. We've had children give back to Maria Freire Children's Hospital. We just had one over the summer where the child wanted to put on a 5K race to raise money, so we helped him do that. So those are the wish types. Not majority, but probably about 40% of our wishes are Disney related. As you can imagine, that is, they do a fantastic job. Kids go there and have the time of their life. So
Does Disney ever give discounts?
they sure do. Yeah.
Or
They take care of those kids like none other. We have families come back and tell us we can never go back there on a normal trip because we wouldn't be treated that way, and our kids wouldn't know what to do. So they don't wait on lines. They get ice cream all day long. So it's a trip of a lifetime.
If people want to volunteer, how do they go about getting involved in the Westchester Division, Hudson Valley?
Our team up at the Wish House in Tarrytown is excellent at communicating to potential wish granters or volunteers that that might want to stuff envelopes or help us direct traffic at an event. We have a full team of people up at the Wish House that
What's the address there?
832 North Broadway, Tarrytown, New York 10591.
And what's the phone number, or do you email?
So it's 914-478-WISH.
That is great. How much time do you spend on the Make-A-Wish initiatives?
Well, I'm just coming off the board right now, Paul. So I've done 12 years as a board member, and I felt like certain parts of the year you're putting in a lot more time than in the summertime. There's definitely a lot more wishes, it seems, just for family consideration and school. So the summertime you would put in a little more time, I think, than maybe January or February. But I can't give you a time amount. There's a lot of hours spent at home working on stuff.
I would like to say I'm sure it's a lot of time. Absolutely sure. As a matter of fact, the JP Doyle just did their annual golf outing, which I'm sure was a huge success based on the fact that so many people were there, so many people had a wonderful time, and they had a wish mom there who spoke about her daughter, correct? And the somewhat sudden and quick illness that she had, and what a speaker she was. Everybody in the room was crying. It was such a beautiful event. Obviously loved to play golf, lots of fun, terrible at it, but the speech by a wish mom or wish parent each year is what will bring everybody back and more. So it was heartwarming, sad, beautiful, and these guys put on such a wonderful event. And you know, the very short answer to your question is they spent a ton of time, I'm sure.
That is, that's great.
So how many approximately children's wishes are granted on a yearly basis for our
Great
audience?
question. This is a good lead-in
Yes.
to Christine.
So we,
Okay.
our year ends August 31st. That's just
Okay.
the demarcation of the end of the year. So we just
Okay.
completed our 39th year of being Make-A-Wish. We're about to celebrate our 40th year.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
we're excited about the anniversary coming up for that.
Absolutely.
Lots of good things planned. Stay tuned. Check our social media for that. But we just broke our record for the number of wishes that we completed. So this past year, we granted 145 wishes for
That's
children.
amazing.
That's
So-
amazing. Congratulations.
and the year before, we broke the record last
What
year
an
too at
achievement.
143. So in the past 2 years, we've almost granted 300, right? Almost 300 wishes. So
Wow. So,
So-
do any of these children come back
they sure
to
do.
you and share how it has transformed their lives? I mean,
Yeah,
could you
absolutely.
share
Yeah.
some of the highlights with our audience?
I can share one in particular who actually works with us now.
Ah.
He was a Wish kid over 20 years ago. And he was, talk about happenstance, he was perfectly healthy, 17-year-old young man, lived in Yonkers, was in a car accident, and they x-rayed him, and he had stage 4 lung cancer. Had no idea. Never smoked, never anything. So thankfully, went through treatment, and now 25 plus years later, works at the Wish House. His name is Abe, and he does a great job for us in overseeing our marketing and a lot of other things for us. And is a proud alumni, now married, has 2 kids. So it's a perfect example of what you asked earlier about, how life changes for these kids. Like, he forgets he's a Wish kid because it was so long ago.
But that is really, great, because when people are taking advantage, or the parents are taking advantage of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, it must be also stressful, because you don't want to feel that your son or daughter is not going to be around in a couple of years. And if these nice stories where you could highlight people, children who are now successful adults with families, I think that's something that could inspire people and make them want to go on.
Yeah, absolutely. What we always say, and Brian can speak to this as well, is as part of the, we come to a child in our family when life is really at its bottom, right? You get diagnosed as a child as a critical illness, like life as you know it is going to change forever. It's never going to go back to what it was the day before, right? So we come in and we just try to provide a little hope, something to look forward to, some joy. We can't cure their disease or their diagnosis, but we can provide medicine that doctors can't, right? We can give them hope. We can give them something to look forward to. I can tell you countless stories of kids in hospitals who are like, their wish is to go to Disney, and it might be in 4 months, but all right, I'm gonna walk on those rides. I am gonna stand up. I'm not going in a wheelchair. And the hospital personnel will tell us, like, this motivated them to work hard in PT or OT or whatever they needed to do to get there, because they were not going to walk and want to go in a wheelchair on their wish.
That is like so nice. And do you have, the young man who was one of the recipients, a number of years ago? Does he do like motivational speaking, and does he go around and say, or if there's a family that is like all stressed out because their kid has lung cancer, will he speak to the family and say, oh, by the way, I have the same thing, stage 4, and look at me now? I mean, do you ever use?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And a benefit of it as well is that he's bilingual, so he can reach those families and populations that we want to continue to, be open to all of our contingent, anybody who's eligible for a wish. So he's able to help with that, and that's super helpful. But yes, he also is really good, I will tell you, at talking to You touched on it a little bit, but older kids have a tougher time accepting a wish because it's, you know, they understand more than the little ones do, and able to sit with them and talk and say, you know, this is a good thing, guy. You know, this is a good thing to get this opportunity.
So it could be like a psychiatrist, or
I guess.
He's a great ambassador.
you could become. You could get an honorary degree at Harvard.
Yes.
You could tell.
He does have a background in counseling, so.
You could tell him that I'm going to nominate him.
Okay. I'll let him know as soon as we get back.
You know, that is great. You know, Brian and Rich, as business leaders in the county, are you getting a lot of other businesses that are participating?
Well, absolutely. We have spread the word to as many people as possible. Once we became involved, it was so crystal clear to us that if we could do it as a small business and contribute and help and feel the tremendous gratification, I don't know the correct words, but it's just a wonderful thing to be involved with. And so our goal is to help promote and hope that other small businesses and might be involved, might wish to, no pun intended, wish to contribute, because there is no better way. So if we can do it in our small business, I'm sure so many other businesses in Westchester and the Hudson Valley region can do so as well. And that's why I'm here.
Rich nailed it right there. And the other thing, Paul, and you just have to deliver the message. And there's so many good people out there, they want to help. And, you know, it doesn't always have to be about monetary giving. You know, there's other ways to do it. And, you know, we touched briefly on Seven's Wish last year. And, you know, the village of Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow, the school system, local businesses, the police, the fire, the EMS, like to flood the streets with support for Seven as she's coming down Broadway and making that turn on Beekman Avenue. I mean, like I get goosebumps, you know, telling the story, but you know, it really takes a village and everybody participates. And, you know, like there's so many ways to help a kid that's going through a really tough time. And one of the biggest ways is just being there and supporting, you know, with your presence. And, you know, that's a great way to support as well.
I was going to also ask, in terms of how much does how much does granting a wish actually, you know, cost? You know, how does it work? Because if you say, I want to meet somebody famous, it doesn't cost anything because most of them will donate their time. So.
Yeah. So the average cash cost is about $10,000 for a wish, but there actually is cost involved sometimes when it's to meet someone, because a lot of times we'll have to fly them to wherever that person is. So there is sometimes they're in New York City and it'll be a minimal cost, but it depends. We have a wish about to happen, a little preview, I think in October, for a young man who wants to meet the Avengers. And they're filming in London, so we're going to fly him to London to meet the Avengers.
And also his parents will be flown?
Yeah, and absolutely. That's a very important thing for us, is that siblings are the siblings are involved in the wish as well. Because if you think about it, when a child is diagnosed with a critical illness, it infects the whole family. And the siblings often can be unintentionally overlooked because the focus becomes on that child, right? So everyone goes on the wish. You know, that lives in the house can go on the wish with them. So
and that's why it could be like $10,000 because it could
correct,
be,
yeah.
You know, it's
right. A trip to London is a little more expensive than some of our other, but they all balance out to be about $10,000.
Right. So if a family is watching this now and they think that they might be eligible for a wish, can you walk us through the process of what they would need to do to see if they could be eligible and give the support to their child?
Absolutely. It's actually quite easy to do. You can go right onto our website, hudson.wish.org, and it'll say referral, and you click right on there, and walks you through all of the process. It is, you know, like I said, we do get verification from the child's physician that this is an illness or a diagnosis that qualifies for us. But it is quite easy. You can also talk to their child life provider at the hospital or their physician. Anyone can refer. A parent can refer. A child can actually refer themselves if they're old enough to do so. If you know someone in your neighborhood, you can refer them. So the process is actually quite easy for anyone to do. And we want we want more. We want to grant the wish of every eligible child in our area. While we granted 145 wishes last year,
amazing.
we still have 150 kids waiting for their wish. And so
Wow.
people like Rich and Brian's golf outing, those funds generated help us get there. And so, but even still, every year we could grant the wish of 200 children. That's the data he'll show us in our area. That's how many kids qualify a year. So we're missing 50 to 60 kids a year, and we want to change that.
So, for example, let's say there's 50 or 60, kids who would qualify, but basically you don't have the resources to help them. Have you done have you outreached, like, say, to local communities? For example, let's say you contacted me, then I could put it on the town website, or I'd be willing to put it on the town website and on the social media, and I could say, Make-A-Wish Foundation has helped 150, people, is helping 150 kids. This is a family in Westchester, or ideally in Greenburgh, that needs it. We don't have the resources right now. If you want to help, let us know, because that's the way that I think I could help, and maybe other municipalities would do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could always call me.
Okay.
And,
be careful what you ask for.
no, this way nobody could say I have a no-show job, right? No, I really seriously,
Absolutely.
because you know what, it's always nice, especially if there's like a Greenburgh family,
Absolutely.
and you highlight it, and you could do this frequently, because every time people complain to me or have like a constituent problem, and I highlight it, I always get I always get help. I mean, across the street, somebody needed a ramp. I posted on the website. I had like 5 people offering to donate a ramp. There was once I had somebody who wanted a chairlift their house. They called me. I posted it all over. Like in a day, there were 2, 3 responses. So again, I'll give you my phone number. So if you get us 438-1343, so you could call me, and I really would want to help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Good.
very
Now
kind.
you see, this
Yeah.
was great. Now
Yes.
I'll feel I'm
We'll
making a
speed
difference.
dial you.
Yeah, as often as you want.
Okay. Great.
Because I really feel that, especially with Make-A-Wish, such a great initiative that you're doing, that every child should have a chance to take advantage of the program. Let's say you can't help somebody. Do you reach out, say, to the national or international division and say, we don't have the resources locally, but could you pitch in?
Actually, I would clarify that we've been able to have the resources to do these wishes. We need to find more of those children. So outreach into, a lot of people don't know, believe it or not, they don't know they even are eligible for a wish. So we can always use more resources, don't get me wrong, but we've been able to fund the pipeline of kiddos that we have. We just need to start to find more kids who may be eligible for a wish. And that's something that, coming out of COVID we had a lot of kids in our pipeline because we couldn't travel. So we got a little backed up, but now we're humming like no tomorrow. And we actually want more kids, right? Now we're at a point where I didn't think we would get here, but we're here. So we want to make sure that every eligible kid who is eligible for a wish, we're finding them. So this will help.
That's
it's
great.
always good to call us and say, hey, I'm not sure if I'm eligible for a wish. The answer may be no, but it may be yes too, and we would love to help.
Does the Rotary or Kiwanis clubs, do they get involved?
Absolutely. Yeah, different municipalities,
Yeah.
up in Somers, the Lions Club is huge with us. So different folks, yeah, absolutely.
Because
I'll speak for Kristine. She goes to a lot of Rotarian meetings throughout the counties here in the Hudson Valley, and they do. They support. A lot of small checks leads to,
Right.
And
businesses like Rich.
Yeah.
I mean, he funds a wish every year. Like that's huge. That's huge for us. Like if we had another 150
wonderful.
riches, we'd be humming.
fabulous.
Like it's great. We do have
That's just
generous people
fabulous.
like him as well. But I mean, he stepped up and just comes with a check every holiday season, and it's
just
a joy.
fabulous.
have you met any of Do you meet some of the families that you help?
No, not personally. They are on our website, but we do have the honor of meeting the Wish mom or dad or family at the annual outing, the JP Doyles outing. And you know, as I said, there's not a dry eye in the place. It was at Knollwood, and the Wish kid wanted to meet Katy Perry, and she not only met Katy Perry, but if I recall correctly, she was able to tell Katy Perry her favorite song, which Katy Perry sang at the end of the concert, and called out to the kid. What a thrill! What an honor to work with these guys. And I'm just here to hope other businesses in the Hudson Valley get involved because it is so worthwhile in every way. It is so worthwhile.
Yeah, that is.
Thank you.
That is really great. Has the Make-A-Wish Foundation internationally or nationally ever considered making this available to adults? Also, have like a Make-A-Wish Foundation for adults?
I don't think so, but there are some organizations that do. I know one in particular is called Jack and Jill, and that helps terminally ill adults go on sort of similar types of trips with their kids, so they have a memory that the kids will have a great time with their family before the ultimate happens for their parents. So there are other organizations that do that work. We're going to stick to the kids.
And I was also going to ask, are there any restrictions on the grants on the wishes that people could ask for?
There are some, yeah. There are some things we don't allow, but we try as best we can to grant that heartfelt wish for the kids. So there are some limitations, but not as many as you know you would think. But there are some things we can't do.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, have you thought about, especially as the holidays approach, coming and visiting like parishes or churches that might be wanting to maybe sponsor a wish collectively as a community
Would love
or
that.
organization? And if so, for our viewing audience, if there's a church or parish or temple that would want you to come and share your mission, these wonderful role models of, civic, just high civic role models that they're doing of giving, of philanthropy, how could they get in contact with you? Is that something you would consider?
Absolutely.
Coming
We
to,
would love it. Yeah,
to a church or temple.
We'll go anywhere.
For,
We'll go
15 minutes and just sharing your stories, and even with these wonderful gentlemen, just share. Because I think when people hear this, it would resonate and people would give up an offering
Absolutely.
to support this. You
Yeah,
know.
the best way to do it is call us at the Wish House at 478-WISH, or go on our website, hudson.wish.org. Send us a note. The staff will get right back to you, and we have a lot of ambassadors that will go out and speak. I always say no one wants to hear from me. They'd rather hear from a mom, as Rich was talking about, or a kid. We have kiddos that will go out and speak on our behalf and tell their story. Much more
very
profound than
inspiring.
any of us could ever share, because they lived it, right? And so,
Yes.
yeah, we would love it. If anyone would like us to visit or get in touch and talk about ways to help, there's so many different ways. There really are, from holiday toy drives. We have a toy closet in the Wish
Right.
House. When kids come, they can have toys, to funds, which are always needed, to volunteering. There's lots of ways to get involved.
And
It
there's no
doesn't,
income restrictions to make for the recipients.
as
The
far as,
family doesn't have to have lower income
Nope.
than anybody.
nope. Once all it needs to happen is they need to be diagnosed with a critical illness, and that's it. We don't ask any more questions past there, except where do you live?
Great. We're running out of time. Could you give us contact information again?
Sure. So it's we're in Tarrytown, the Wish House, right on Route 9, and our website is hudson.wish.org, and our phone number is 914-478-WISH.
Great. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being a guest. This was so interesting, and I learned a lot, and I hope that people in the community will be supportive. And again, if there's especially Greenburgh families that need help, and you want me to highlight without putting their names on it, I could basically highlight this is a family that is seeking help from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. If you are interested in helping one of your neighbors, please contact the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'd be more than thrilled to help.
Thank you. That would be great.
Thank you both.
Thank you both.
Oh,
this
thank
is great.
you.
Thank you for the
very much.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.